Nobody predicted the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns NBA Finals before the season began. We'll be watching an NBA Finals without any of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry or Kawhi Leonard. But we do have a 36-year-old Chris Paul making his first NBA Finals and looking to add an NBA championship to his incredible legacy. And then you have the Bucks, who are led by two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. And as a team, the Bucks have been knocking on the championship door for the past few years, finishing in the top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference for the past 3 years. But what version of Giannis will we see, as he has missed Game 5 and Game 6 in their conference final matchup against the Atlanta Hawks due to that knee injury he suffered in Game 4. I expect him to play because reports were that he was available for Game 7 if a Game 7 was necessary, and there's been a few more days off, so I expect Giannis to play. But at what level will Giannis be at? Will he still be able to drive to the rim, at will, like he usually does, or will he have to settle for mid-range jumpers and 3-pointers? And if he does have to settle for mid-range shots, I think the Suns have a great chance of winning it all. Alright, so let's have a look at the regular season matchup between these teams. Now, obviously, it's only the regular season. The same intensity is not there as it is in the playoffs, never mind an NBA Finals. But they did play twice in regular season, and we should look at it, see how they matched up. And in the regular season, the Suns won both games, but both games were extremely tight. One went to overtime, so I expect this series to be very evenly matched, and a good watch, I think. With the Bucks having the best defense in the playoffs, the Suns have the second best defense, so they're evenly matched on that end. And while the Suns have the 10th best offense in the playoffs this year, the Bucks have the 11th. So that right there shows you how evenly these teams match are. You got the Bucks who have the best defense in the playoffs, the Suns have the second best. The Suns have the 10th best offense in the playoffs, and the Bucks have the 11th. So incredibly evenly matched I think these two sides are, and that's why I think it's going to be a great watch. So let's look how the two teams do end up matching up. The Bucks have great perimeter defenders like a PJ Tucker, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday to stick on the Phoenix Suns shooters. And as a Laker fan watching the Lakers play the Suns do have a lot of good shooters. With role players, like a Cam Johnson, a Cam Payne, a Mikal Bridges, a Jay Crowder. Players like them, they can hit the 3 ball, and they're very effective when they're on form for the Suns. But what usually separates these two teams, any teams really, in an NBA Finals, is the stars. Which stars can step up the most? And there's some pretty big stars on both sides. Obviously the Suns have Chris Paul, and they have a Devin Booker, even a DeAndre Ayton, and then the Bucks have a Giannis, hopefully fully healthy or close to it, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. So let's look at some of the matchups that I think we'll see in this finals. I think the Bucks will probably should put PJ Tucker and Devin Booker. PJ did a great job playing defense on Kevin Durant in the second round of the Eastern playoffs, and I think he's the best man to guard Booker. You could also put Chris Middleton on Devin Booker. Chris Middleton's a great defender. He's got the length, so he could easily guard Booker, but I would have Middleton save his energy, let him guard someone like a Mikal Bridges, save his energy on the defensive end, focus it on the offensive end, and have PJ Tucker go all out defensively, because that's his speciality. PJ Tucker, he can hit the corner 3, but other than that, he's not a big threat offensively. So I'd have PJ Tucker guarding Devin Booker, let PJ go all out on D-Book, see what he can do, try and slow him down. Kevin Durant dropped 48 points on him twice, but I think everyone agreed that he still did a pretty good job on KD. So it'll be interesting to see who the Bucks put on Devin Booker. As I said, I put on PJ Tucker, and I think he'd do a very good job. As for Devin Booker, he's had an unbelievable couple of years and an unbelievable playoffs this year. You wouldn't know it was his first ever playoffs. Devin Booker has averaged 27 points per game, 6.4 boards a game on 44% shooting from the field and 34.5% shooting in his first ever playoffs. He's shown a lot of mental toughness and toughness, just overall toughness in his playoffs. He played to a broken nose in the conference finals versus the Clippers, and then in the closing out games 4, 5 and 6 versus the Lakers, Devin Booker averaged 34 points in those 3 games. And I remember Game 6 at Staples Center as a Laker fan. I thought the Lakers would have that game, but Devin Booker had like 47 points on him. He's incredible. So he showed he can do it when it matters most. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs in this finals. Obviously, I think Drew Holiday will be guarding Chris Paul. The Bucks gave up a lot to get Drew Holiday, and they gave him that big extension during the season for moments like these. An NBA Finals against one of the best point guards of all time, Chris Paul. You're not going to stop Chris Paul, but what you do need to do is try and slow him down, offensively anyway. He's a great playmaker, but they're going to need Drew Holiday on both ends. They need Drew Holiday to play make and knock down trees on the offensive end. And they need him, to try and slow down Chris Paul as much as you can. Try and sap the energy off him. Chris Paul is 36 years old, so make him work for every point and try and sap energy from CP3. And they give up a lot for Drew Holiday, so they'd want him to do a little bit on the offensive end as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Drew Holiday will match up against Chris Paul. In game 1 against the Hawks, Drew Holiday struggled against Trae Young, but I think after that he did pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see how he does on a 36-year-old CP3. And as for Chris Paul, this is the moment he's been waiting for his entire career. Year 16, 36 years old. This has all come down to winning his first ever NBA championship. And he needs this, He needs to take the scoring pressure off Devin Booker. That's one thing for sure. You can't just completely rely on D-Book. So take the scoring pressure off D-Book. And also get other players involved, especially DeAndre Ayton, because the two of them are very lethal in that pick and roll. So take the scoring off D-Book and get DeAndre Ayton involved. He's done very well in his playoffs. If I'm the Suns, I'm putting Jay Crowder on Giannis. Now, Giannis scored like 47 points in the regular season, so they don't really have an answer for him, but Jay Crowder is the best I can see. Assuming Giannis is close to 100%, Crowder isn't stopping him, and he's not really slowing him down too much, but what Jay Crowder is to give you 100%. He's not a bad defender, and he's a tough guy, he's a scrappy player, and when Giannis drives to the rim, Jay Crowder will need help from DeAndre Ayton to try and clog the paint, double team him in the paint, make him work, make him go to the line or something like that. But if Giannis is injured, Crowder needs to try and get Giannis just to shoot those mid-range shots or even hit 3-pointers. Live and die by that. I'd much rather Giannis shoot a 20-foot mid-range shot or hit a wide open three than him running down the lane, driving to the rim. He can get an and one there. He's very lethal. So that's if he's suffering some injuries, which there's a high chance he could be. I'd try and find Jay Crowder and forcing Giannis to the 20-foot mark or to the 3-point line. You've also got DeAndre Ayton, who will be on Brook Lopez, and both are playing brilliant basketball in this playoffs. Brook Lopez dropped 33 points in Game 5 while playing great defense in this playoffs, and he can stretch the floor. It's going to bring DeAndre Ayton out of the paint, which other centers like Andre Drummond and Zubats haven't been able to do, because they're both traditional centers. They don't stretch the floor, so Ayton's had it easy in that aspect of it. But Brook Lopez will be a whole different challenge. I think whoever comes out on top of this Brook Lopez DeAndre Ayton matchup, it won't decide the series, but it'll go a long way in deciding it, because they're two very good centers when they're playing well. They've both been playing exceptional basketball this playoffs. Like DeAndre Ayton, he shot 70% from the field. He's in line for a max extension. He's been playing unbelievable basketball for the Suns, probably against the Lakers, the second best player. So DeAndre Ayton's incredible. Brook Lopez has been getting better and better as playoffs have gone on, so it'll be interesting to see who wins this matchup. And as I said, whoever does, it will go a long way helping their team win the NBA championship. So now let's look at the Giannis situation. As we all know, Giannis suffered a hyper-extended left knee injury in Game 4, forcing him to miss the rest of Game 4 and Games 5 and 6. But if the Hawks series did end up going 7 games, Chris Haynes said Giannis would have been available for Game 7. So with some extra rest, Game 1 is until Tuesday, Wednesday, so we'll be able to go. I think the only question is that what level will he be able to go? How close to 100% will Giannis be? Because in this playoffs he's been incredible so far, averaging 28.2 points per game, 12.7 boards and 5.2 assists per game on 55% shooting from the field. And if Giannis' knee isn't strong enough to consistently drive to the rim, like he's been doing before, and he ends up settling for mid-range shots and 3-pointers, I think the Bucks are in a world of trouble. And as I said, I'm a Lakers fan, and with LeBron's ankle injury, he couldn't drive to the rim. He could drive to the rim, but not the same or as consistently or as strongly as he could before the ankle injury. So the question will be, will Giannis' knee be able to hold up for him to keep going to the rim? Because that's his strongest strength, That's what Giannis is all about, going to the rim. So, and defensively, he's unbelievable defensively for the Bucks. But I think he'll be alright in that end. But how often and how strong can he drive to the rim with this knee injury? So let's look at the coaches. Now you got Coach Bud versus Monty Williams, and there's been a lot of pressure on Coach Bud during these playoffs and last couple of years, with reports saying he would have got fired if they had have lost in round 2 versus the Brooklyn Nets. But now they made it to an NBA Finals and looks like his job is secured. But I will say I would rather have Monty Williams. First of all, he makes adjustments in playoffs, which is something Coach Bud just fails to do. He wouldn't. I did say around the video, PJ Tucker did a great job in Giannis, but PJ Tucker did a great job in KD. but I still think Giannis should have been guarding KD. You know, he's just closer height-wise, and Giannis is a former DPOY. But that's not the... Other than that, he doesn't change things anyway. So Coach Bud, he's too stubborn. I think he's done well and proved some people wrong getting here to the NBA Finals. But yeah, I would rather have Coach Monty Williams because he will make adjustments. He's a great motivator. Him and Chris Paul get on so well. And, you know, I think he gets the very best out of his team. And so that's why overall I would rather have Coach Monty Williams than Coach Mike Budenholzer. But now let's look at who needs this championship more. Obviously both teams. The simple answer is both teams, obviously. I don't see either getting back here in the finals in the near future. Only because teams like the Lakers, Clippers, Jazz, and Nuggets and Mavericks will be coming back from injury and will be improving in future years, starting from next year in the Western Conference. So the Suns will have much hard, won't be any easier for the Suns in future years. And as for the Bucks in the East, you'll have Brooklyn, Philly, Boston, Miami, Atlanta, and even the Knicks either getting back from injury or improving in the off season. So things are not getting any easier in either conference for either side. So I think, looking big picture, simple answer said both teams need this more. But if I had to pick one, I do think the Bucks need this championship more. Even though CP3 is 36 and doesn't have a lot of time left at the top, the Suns, they have, other than CP3 obviously, they got a pretty young squad. They've got Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, pretty young. You've got Cam Payne, you've got Mikal Bridges, so pretty young side. So I think they can afford to lose this finals more than the Bucks. As for the Bucks, they've been, as I said, knocking on the door these past couple of years. They made it to the conference finals in 2019, got eliminated in the second round last year, and I think they need this. Coach Bud really needs this, and they have a bit of a reputation over the last couple of years, the Bucks, of choking in the playoffs. So they need to remove that narrative, and they need to use their experience against the Suns teams, because other than Chris Paul, this Suns team is pretty inexperienced. It's DeAndre Ayton, it's Devin Booker's first playoff run, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Giannis, they've all been here before, PJ Tucker, they've been here before. So I think they need to use their experience against this Bucks team. They got a great squad. Obviously they're big, I wouldn't really call them big three, but you got Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. You got great role players in PJ Tucker, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and all these players are either in their primes or they're just out of their primes. I think Brook Lopez and PJ Tucker are just out of their primes, everyone else are in their primes. So this is a prime Milwaukee Bucks team playing some of their best basketball against a young Suns team in their first playoff run. I think the Bucks need to take advantage of this and need to go all out and win it. And Giannis, he needs a championship for his legacy. I can't think he or the Bucks will get any better chance of winning a championship in their careers, in Giannis' career, than right now. They match up very well against the Suns team. They play great defense, and barring CP3 and Jay Crowder, there's not a lot of experience in the Suns team. As I said, Booker and Ayton, first playoff run, and they're not in their primes yet either. So while the Bucks, they have been knocking on the door for the last few years, as I said, this is their time. I feel their time is now. Giannis, two-time MVP, and if he's close enough to 100%, I think now is the time for the Bucks to be winning this championship. And their first NBA championship since 1971, since those Kareem days. And that's why I feel the Bucks need it more. They're in their primes. They've been knocking on the door. They've been to conference finals before. They got to go and win it all now. They won't have Giannis or the Bucks won't have any better chance of winning an NBA championship this year than any other year, I don't think. So overall, I think this will be a fun series to watch at the very least. We have two new teams making their first NBA Finals in decades. And, there's some great storylines going into this series. Can CP3 cement his legacy as one of the best point guards of all time by winning his first NBA championship at 36 years old in year 16? Or will Giannis, follow up his back-to-back MVPs and win his first ever NBA championship? And the Bucks' first championship since 1971, as I said. Both are evenly matched, with the Bucks having great impact players off the bench like a Bobby Portis, Bobby Portis, for example, he brings scoring and energy from the bench. They also have 3-point shooters in Pat Connaughton and Brian Forbes. That's their 3-point shooting sorted. But the Suns, they have some great 3-and-D wings like Cam Johnson, Torrey Craig, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, along with Cameron Payne as well as Chris Paul's backup. So I think this will be a great series to watch. I think Chris Middleton and DeAndre Ayton, those two players will have massive roles to play in this series. On to Chris Middleton. I think Chris Middleton is going to be crucial in this playoff series. He's had some great games in his playoffs, shown he can be a legit second option on a championship team, and then he's had some games where he's just disappointed. But I think when the Bucks need him most, Chris Middleton will step up for them, and I think he'll definitely have the deciding factor in this series, especially Giannis not being 100%. And in those biggest of games that the Bucks have needed Middleton the most, he stepped up. In Game 6 versus Brooklyn, he had 38 points, 10 rebounds and 5 assists. In Game 7 versus Brooklyn, he had 23 points, 10 rebounds and 6 assists. In a crucial Game 5 versus Atlanta, he had 26 points, 13 rebounds and 8 assists. And in Game 6 versus Atlanta, the closeout game, he had 32 points, 7 assists. So I think if Chris Middleton can play like that second option on a Bucks team and be a superstar and also level player for 3 out of the potential 7 games, I think the Bucks will win this series. Preferably 4 or 5, but I think even 3 games of Middleton playing like his all-star potential, I think the Bucks will get over the line here. Hopefully Giannis will be near to 100%, and with Giannis and Middleton, and then you got your people like Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, PJ Tucker, Brook Lopez, I think they'll have enough. As for the Suns, if DeAndre Ayton can win that matchup versus Brook Lopez, I think they got a very good chance as well. But my prediction for this NBA Finals, I think obviously Giannis injury depending, and hopefully also, assuming there'll be no more injuries, they've been playing for injuries in these playoffs, assuming everyone's healthy, I think the Bucks will win this in 6. Only, as I said, if Giannis is playing to a close to 100% where he can drive to the rim and not settle for jumpers. If he does have to set for jumpers and can't drive to the rim effectively, the Suns can win it in 6. But I just think the Bucks have the experience. I think when Chris Middleton's playing like a second star, I think the Bucks have enough to win it. And the experience, the great defense, the role players, I just think the experience comes down to experience really for me. I think the Bucks have enough to go over the line. That's why I'm going for the Milwaukee Bucks to win this series in 6 games. But tell me, what do you guys think? Who do you think will win this NBA Finals? Who do you think needs to win this NBA Finals more? Chris Paul, Giannis, Bucks, Suns? You tell me. But anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications to stay notified for an upload. And with all that said, I'm out of here and enjoy the NBA Finals.